Hey Borderlands fans, and welcome back to another Borderlands 3 builds video. Today we are going to be looking at this game's siren, Amara, and she is the tankiest, or at least she will be by the time that this build is finished. That's right, today we are going total tank and making Amara as unkillable as possible. Now, as always before we get started, I just wanted to let you guys know that if you are looking to fiddle around with these skill trees for yourself, and if you guys wanted to join the VIP program for tons of free loot and gear, I will have a link in the video description down below. With that out of the way, let's get on with it. Today, we are starting in Amara's Brawl tree, which is all about getting up close and personal with all of our enemies. For the action skill with this build, I'm going to start off with the Phase Slam ability, as it is a pretty good cooldown time for the amount of damage that it does. And as we move through the build, I will talk about the other options that I like. With our first skill points, I'm going to grab the Root to Rise skill and the Clarity skill. These two are going to combo really well together, as we're going to see a 40% increase to our max health, as well as be granted a 5% health regen. This means that we're going to be able to withstand most damage that comes our way. Additionally, after we use our action skill, the benefits of this Clarity skill here will double, now granting us a 10% health regen. Now, while we are on the topic of health regen, we're going to move down to the Tier 2 skill, Samsara. This is going to give us a stack each time that we hit an enemy with our action skill, and for each of these stacks we will gain 5% increased gun damage and a 5% health regen. Now, if we can manage to hit 5 enemies with one action skill, we will actually see a 25% increase to both of these two effects. Now that we've made it so that we can soak up any damage that contacts us, let's make it so that we also reduce the effectiveness of this damage. Picking up the other two skills here in this tier, we are going to gain a 40% damage reduction to all damage for 15 seconds after the use of our action skill. We also are going to pick up a passive splash damage reduction of 40%. Moving down the tree a little bit further, we're going to pick up the mindfulness skill, which is going to cause another stacking effect. We will gain a stack each time that we take damage, stacking up to 25 times and lasting for 5 seconds. Each of these stacks are going to grant us a reduction to our shield recharge delay, meaning that our shield will be recharging pretty much all the time. Each of these stacks are also going to grant us a 4% increase to move speed, which will give us a ridiculous amount of mobility in the center of a teamfight. With what I've seen of shields in Borderlands 3, I would think that we pretty easily could get an elemental resistant shield that will also give us a buff to move speed when our shields are up. This synergy seems perfect to me. The amount of tank that is granted by each of Amara's skills is wild, and our next skill is no exception. This skill is One with Nature, and it is going to give us another 25% increase to max health, as well as a 40% increase to elemental resistance. The elemental resistance is only going to be our action skill element, however. It is because of this skill that I would suggest keeping our action skill element the shock variant. This would make it so that our shields have a much easier time staying full. Because we want to be in the middle of every fight, and because we are going to be the target of every enemy, we are definitely going to want to choose the Do Unto Others skill. This skill is going to cause us to shoot an energy orb back at our attackers. This orb is going to deal the damage of our action skill, and it is going to have a short cooldown between each use. Still good though. So what if we do go down? What if all of our defenses fail, and all of our health is depleted? Well, with the Guardian Angel skill, we'll just hop right back up with full health, dealing a Nova around us, killing enemies, and starting all over, it seems like. The skill does have a 2-minute cooldown, but with how tanky we're going to be, I honestly can't imagine us needing it more often than that. And now, we've pretty much filled in this tree as much as we're gonna, so let's talk about the action skills we've unlocked. The first of the two is Fracture. Personally, I think that the skill is really cool. It has a shorter cooldown than Phase Slam and does a little bit less damage, but it does, at least from what I've seen in gameplay, leave an area of effect on the ground that if enemies walk into it, they take elemental damage over time. This is really nice because we're just going to get a little bit longer of a lasting effect out of our action skill. This action skill would be my alternative for Phase Slam if I choose not to use it. Our other action skill augment is Downfall. This action skill has the largest cooldown and the most potential damage output. With this skill, we're going to jump in the air, perform a Kamehameha, and then ground pound our enemies. While this skill sounds pretty cool, my concern would be that I would want to use my action skill as often as possible, and I don't want to be waiting on really long cooldown times. The other issue I have for now is that I haven't really tested the skill, so I don't know how hard it is to aim that laser, or if the laser will just target the nearest enemy that's kind of under you, or what. If I'm going to be missing my attacks with the laser, I should just opt for Phase Slam because it's going to have a shorter cooldown and be easier to aim. Now that we have covered our action skills, let's move over to the Mystical Assault tree. In this tree, we're going to start off with the Do Harm skill, which is going to allow us to acquire rush stacks that can be converted into action skill damage. These stacks can be acquired by killing foes, and if we are maxed out with a count of 10 rush stacks, we will deal an increased 45% damage when we use our action skill. From here, we're going to move on down to the Restless skill and gain some increased action skill cooldown rate, making it so that we can use our action skill more often, which I've already put a lot of value on. And for the last skill point of this core build, I'm going to pick up Ascendant. This is going to boost the effects of all action skill augments that we choose to use. Regarding our action skill augment, we have 4 options unlocked, so let's talk about those. Back in the Brawl tree, our first option is Revelation. This would be cool because it's going to allow our action skill to create a Nova when it damages enemies. This Nova will in turn deal damage to more enemies, and this does come at the cost of some action skill damage. However, because we picked up the Ascendant skill, that's negated. The next option we have is Glamour. This is going to make it so that our enemies affected by our action skill are confused and attack one another. This does come at the cost of an increased cooldown time, and because I've already talked about how I want to be using action skills as often as possible, I'm probably not going to use this one. If we did, however, it is worth noting that Ascendant is going to grab 50% longer duration, making the confusion last 12 seconds. Moving back to the Mystical Soul tree, we have 2 more action skill augments, the first being Soul Sap. This is going to grant us lifesteal with our action skill. With our tank build, I think that this may be the way to go. However, if we aren't struggling for health because of our other health regen potential, we may not need the 50% health regen we're going to get from this augment. The last action skill augment is Stillness of Mind, which could be useful if you're getting overwhelmed by enemies. It is going to phase lock our enemies that are affected by our action skill, with an effect that will last for 0.75 seconds after they take damage or until 6 seconds have passed. Because this skill comes at the cost of a longer cooldown, I probably won't choose it, but that doesn't mean it isn't viable. You all will have to let me know which action skill and augment you would choose to use with this build. I feel like I've hinted towards my thoughts, but I want to know yours. With that said, we have a couple skill points left over, and I'm going to advise you to put them wherever best matches your playstyle. If you're looking to use shotguns and get up close, maybe use the personal space. Personally, I'm thinking I'm going to use more elemental weapons, so I'm going to take 4 points in the Violent Tapestry skill. This is also going to allow me to gain rush stacks more quickly, meaning that I should always be getting that max damage from the Do Harm skill. And there you have it, guys. This is my build. I hope you enjoyed the video. I really love the positive feedback that I've been seeing in the comment section down below. It always means a lot when you like the videos as well. I have one more announcement for you guys. Tomorrow there will be playlists going up on my channel that are just specific to each character, meaning that I will have all of my Flak builds in one place, all of my Zane, Amara, and Mo's each in their own respective playlist. Because of this, I would hope that you guys could send them to your friends maybe, and show them new ways to play the character that they're already planning on playing. If you don't do that, that's okay. Just make sure to check back tomorrow. I'll have another video up, and I'll see you in the next one.